everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and in this video, I'm going to share the formulation ideas behind one of our much loved formulas. This is one of my dad's originals, and that is the Prostate 100. The last couple of weeks, I shared information on how I formulated first the lung blend and then the brain glow. And I kind of gave you a peek into the back of my head, the way I formulate, and not just that, why these herbs are together in the formula that they're in and how they complement each other. And a couple of things happened. I realized, first of all, what if I went behind one of my dad's formulas that I didn't formulate and got into his head? And the second thing that happened is I actually got an email from a customer who said, I would love to see you do the same breakdown on the herbs in Prostate. So I have spent the week going through this blend, the 6 herbs that are in it, and trying to get into my dad's point of view. From what I know about him, he didn't leave really specific notes about why these herbs go together, but I know why they go together, and I'm excited to share my thought process on what was inside my dad's head when he put these 6 herbs together to support healthy prostate function. So I'm just going to go from my notes that I gathered this week and do my best to get inside my dad's head, which at this point, growing up with a dad who formulated, put herbs together, and then for the last 25 years of putting together my own formulations, I didn't really realize the thought process kind of flowed over through me and to me by osmosis, just growing up with a dad who did this and now carrying on his work for all these years and then doing my own formulations, realizing that some of this, the way he did it and the way that it flowed onto me was intuitive. I think that it's just amazing to go into this with that kind of an idea. So here's how I started my notes. So Prostate is, for those of you who are not familiar, this is one of my dad's original formulations, probably 50 years ago. He created it decades ago. And this was, the cool thing is this was long before herbal medicine became mainstream again, because I think we're in a transition time where herbal medicine was what humans used for centuries. And it never went away. It never went away completely, but it got hijacked by modern medicine, pharmaceutical drugs, the idea that humans aren't able to get healthy using plant medicine. That got hijacked. And now it's coming full circle where people are realizing, oh, this is how we're designed, and that these are the tools that were put on this planet to help us. And there have been generations of shamans, herbalists, medicine men, medicine women, that have been carrying forth and keeping this knowledge alive and well. And as I look back on the way that I think my dad would have put this formula together, I realized there was a wisdom that he had that was just so special and so magical. So I believe, first of all, that one of the things that I really realized is that he didn't just take one magic herb and say, this is for the helping support this function or this organ or this system. What he actually did was like, okay, what's the foundation and where do we go from there? It's really about combining herbs and letting them contribute something unique to each other. So first of all, the foundation, and this is where a lot of people and a lot of herbalists or a lot of herb companies will stop, is it just at one herb? So the foundation of Prostate, from my perspective, is the saw palmetto. Okay. And this is, you can get this by the single. And I'm not even saying that that's a bad thing to use this herb as a single to support healthy prostate function. I'm saying that from the perspective that I'm looking at it now, my dad saw this as a foundational herb. Here's classically what this does. It supports healthy prostate function, normal urinary flow. It's naturally rich in these things: naturally occurring fatty acid and plant sterols. And what this does is it makes it one of the most respected herbs for men's wellness. And this is why it's popular. You can get this almost everywhere. And you might be a man who's been using saw palmetto, and that to me can be a very good thing because even by itself, it's powerful. Okay. So to me, this is one of the foundations. And then I believe he added another foundational herb, and this is Pygeum. Okay. And this is not extremely well known, at least it's not as well known as saw palmetto. So this is why I think he added it, because it has a long, rich history of healthy prostate function and comfortable urinary flow. That's what Pygeum does. And you might not realize this, but Pygeum comes from the bark of the African cherry tree, and it naturally contains plant sterols and triterpenes. Okay. Beautiful compounds full of nutrition that help support comfortable urinary flow. Okay, so think about that. So for many herbalists, what I believe is that these two herbs, saw palmetto and Pygeum, have become a classic foundation. Now, the next one that I believe is a foundational herb, and this is nettle root. Nettle leaf is a very powerful herb. It's used and loved for many different things. It's a little different. It has different properties than the root. So in our formula, we use nettle root. This is how my dad formulated it, and we still continue it exactly how he did it. Here's what nettle leaf does, just so you know the difference. It's different in nutrition support, but where you get the power for the urinary tract and the prostate is through the root. Okay, so it supports healthy prostate function and it supports normal urinary function. Okay, so we're going to the whole urinary tract, not just the prostate. So it naturally contains ligands and plant sterols, making it an excellent companion to saw palmetto and Pygeum. And what I think that by adding nettle root, it shows that my dad was carefully formulating this even 50 years ago, because nettle root is something that has gotten on the radar of an herbal remedy for supporting your prostate just recently, in the last probably 20 years. So the fact that he formulated this over 50 years ago says a lot about the way he carefully formulated. Now, this is that you could stop right there with those three, and this would be a beautiful blend. In fact, if you were to do a search for prostate formulas that have more than just one herb in it, you might find something that has two of these or even these three. And this would be a really beautiful blend. But the cool thing is he did not stop there. Okay. So he broadened it to support what I realized is the entire urinary system. So Uva Ursi is the next one. This one supports healthy bladder function, urinary tract wellness, and urinary comfort. Again, because this is something that happens as we age, as we get infections, as we walk through life, being exposed to different things. These are all really important systems and organs to work well, right? So this is what Uva Ursi does. It contains a naturally occurring compound called arbutin, which has been long associated with urinary tract support. Now the next one, and I love this one in here, is horsetail. So horsetail, one of the things I love most about it is that it's naturally high in silica, which is perfect for something that's supporting the prostate and the urinary tract. So here's what I think about why my dad put in horsetail in his prostate formula. It supports healthy urinary function, connective tissues, this is where the silica comes in, and general mineral nourishment. Okay, so think about that. This broadens this formula so beautifully. It brings a nourishing quality to a formula that complements the more targeted herbs. So it's in just the right percentage, and it brings this beautiful mineral component, supports the connective tissues, which those parts of the organs are super important, right? The last one that he added here was gravel root. This one has had its share of a little bit of controversy, and it's been interesting as I've been making these blends for a long time. Sometimes it'll dip on the radar where we think we might have to remove it, and then everything seems to be fine. And we haven't had to, but if you do a little bit of deeper research on gravel root and why that might be, I think it will interest you. So this to me is one of North America's most classic urinary herbs, this gravel root. Okay, it's traditionally used to support healthy urinary tract function, normal fluid elimination, and kidney and urinary wellness. And to me, it rounds out the formula beautifully. Okay, so those 6, and that is why. Here's how I wrote after I was done researching this. This is where my dad's philosophy really shines. What I realized, instead of him asking, what does each herb do? He really asked each herb to do one job well. Here's how I put these together in just a brief note. Saw palmetto, it lays the foundation for traditional prostate support. Pygeum complements saw palmetto with another layer of traditional prostate and urinary support. Nettle root adds another important botanical traditionally used for overall men's wellness and specifically for the prostate, hence the name prostata, prostate support. Uva Ursi broadens the focus to the bladder and the urinary tract. Horsetail contributes mineral-rich nourishment, especially silica, while supporting urinary wellness. And then finally, gravel root completes the blend with its long history of supporting healthy urinary function. I mean, what a beautiful blend. And like I said, this is something that the men in my life, including my 2 grown sons, have been using for many years with really good results. This is something that I'm so blessed to carry on my dad's legacy, dig a little bit deeper into some of these really base nutritional herbal blends that he formulated. And for me, this was really fun to get into his head and think, what was my dad thinking from my perspective? And this is all speculation. What I knew about him, he didn't leave anything specific in the blends. He just left the herbs, the percentages, the fact that it was tinctured. And for me, this was a fun exercise in, if I were in my dad's shoes formulating 50 years ago, this was just a really fun exercise to do after spending a couple of decades formulating my own herbal blends that have another organ or another system as its target to help nourish and support, protect, and make healthy. So I'd love to know what you think about this. It is a beautiful, amazing blend that many people and many men have enjoyed. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and we will see you in the next one.